I'm here with Lynn Forrest, and today we are continuing our discussion on the guiding principles of reality. And today we're on number 6, which is the law of equilibrium, which states we are made up of 3 distinct aspects: physical, emotional, mental, that when brought into balance aligns us with the source of our being and brings us peace. How do these 3 aspects work together to bring us peace exactly?
Well, the word is equilibrium, and you would think of equilibrium as a balance between 2, and it is. But the key word here is balance, which means the integration of the 2. And so what we have is we have 3 bodies, really. Every human being is made up of 3 bodies. We have the mental body, and that precedes everything else. It's the thought first, and that leads to manifestation. We think it first. We are thought expressions of the one living mind. The one mind thinks us into being, right? And so we're thinking those thoughts. So that's the mental body. We have that body, and it really has the supernal place, the highest place, because this is a mental universe. It's created through thought. And so in the beginning was the Word. And I think I've said that before. And the Word is sound. It is thought projected out through sound. And so mental body, that's what the mental body does. And the second body that is then comes out of the mental body is the emotional body. We have an emotional body. And this is our world of feelings and emotion, energy in motion. And this energy is set in motion, emotion, through the thoughts, through the mental body, right? So then we have this emotional body that tells us how we're responding and reacting to the thoughts we're thinking. It immediately sets up the milieu of our emotional feeling world based on the thoughts we're creating and projecting out there. So now we are feeling, and that's the part of us that's the vibrational being. That's the part of us that is vibrating at a particular emotional frequency based on the thoughts, based on the mental body. So that's the emotional body. And then we have the physical body. And the physical body is the reaction aspect of the 3. And that is the body that takes action, that literally, takes on a body and plays out for our viewing pleasure, I like to say, that which we think and feel. And so our mental body and our emotional body and our physical body is the culmination of that. And actually, you could say that so how is this an equilibrium? Well, so what happens is these 3 bodies come into a balance with one another that creates the Trinity. It's the masculine and the feminine married. So the masculine is more like the logos, or the mind, the mental body, and the feminine is more like the body, the emotional body. Rather, that feels and responds and vibrates to. And when you marry those 2, you manifest through the physical. You manifest into the physical the marriage of those 2 bodies, and that creates a third body, and that's like the pivot point on a seesaw. It's like the body. So we are here having this experience of these 3 bodies, of these 2 bodies through the physical, would be a way to say it. And so what we're doing is we're seesawing. We tend to go back and forth between the mental and the emotional. And we very often polarize. We choose one to side with. We decide, well, I'm just going to think. I'm not going to feel. Or we do the opposite. I'm going to feel and not think.
So how does that mess with the equilibrium when we choose one side or the other? I mean, to me,
put yourself on a seesaw. Put yourself on a seesaw. So if you go over here on the emotional side of the seesaw, what happens to the seesaw? Boing, it goes flat.
It thunks. Yeah.
It thunks, right.
Completely off balance.
Right. Right. Because and that's the way your life becomes. You begin to kind of live out of this place of whichever polarity you're in. You're on that side of the seesaw. So
And
you're over.
how is this different from the law of polarity, which we
The
talked
law of polarity, just it's an extenuation of it. It's all these principles, they extend out of each other. They are not separate. They just it's really based on sacred geometry and numerology. And if you look at it, you can look at it through those lenses as a way to begin to understand it. But it's just about understanding that the polarity is the two. It's like the mental and emotional in opposition, because then that's very often a war we have within us, where we've got this, we go back and forth, or we live on one side and deny the other, or whatever. We're out of balance. What brings the balance is when we begin to bring the two closer. And we're given this physical opportunity through the body. That's why I say the body is so important, because it's the plug-in. It's where we cohabitate with the mental and the emotional. That's the place where we, on the ground, through not just this physical body, but through concrete reality, through the things that we experience in life, on our life path. The spouse, the children, the life we're having. Our life is an expression of this internal battle between these two polarities. And that's why I talk about the law of polarity. And this is just out of that, you achieve balance. And this is why this law is important, is that you achieve balance by balancing those two in your life.
Or those
and
three.
That are those three. Yeah, right. Yes.
So would you say that when you have equilibrium, when you achieve that kind of balance, you have peace?
Yeah, because you come into, interestingly enough, the three become one. You come into a oneness, because now the two are married and they've become one, which means that you've got access to both your mental body and your emotional body. They're working as they're designed to, through refinement. We come here to refine this, and we're in the throes of refining this relationship, inner relationship between these two within our own psyche, and bringing it into, and our body will reflect it. Our body is the mirror. It's the walking around evidence of where we are in our, when I mean not only the physical body, how it looks, but certainly that, but also how we maneuver in life. That's all part of the physical. Our life on the ground is the physical. So it's not just our physical body our life is an extension of the physical manifestation of our being. So, and that's going to reflect where we are in the marriage. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I'm also, this law is reminding me that it almost reminds me of an internal steps toward physical manifestation. Like what happens pre-manifestation on an internal level is the balance and the alignment of these three bodies before you see it.
Yes, that's it. That's exactly it.
Oh,
this is what it means when we talk in esoterics about 3 in 1. It's a 3 in 1. Right. And then, so now then, when you look at the model, our model of where you've got a trinity down here, a triangle, downward facing triangle. This is the story-made self that we've created out of the mental, the emotional, and the physical. The physical manifestation of victim, because it's an archetype that says what we believed ourselves into creating is who we are. Right. So that's that lower constellation. That's a trinity in and of itself. And as we began to recognize how we move around that triangle, and that we're not just one or the other, we're not just the victim who's constantly being gunned to by life, nor are we or the persecutor, where we just persecute all the time, or nor are we the rescuer that's always the superhuman that runs in to save everybody, and we're always just doing what's best. No, we play all three parts, And as we begin to see that, that's the power of the drama triangle, the victim triangle, the drama triangle that Stephen Karpman handed us through that incredible diagram that I have really, really used as a way to help people understand their own their own Trinity, their own inner being. And then you've got the higher, which is our higher work. This is that part of us that is eternal, that never really falls for the lower, but it's penetrating it. And so these two bodies, actually these two constellations, these 3 bodies, 6 bodies, archetypes, they all come together. They create the 6-pointed star. That's the marriage of the higher self with the lower, so that we can have what is often called in esoterics, metaphysics, a soul-infused body, soul-infused being. That's when we become soul-infused, where we are living from that higher self.